And then when we talk about the planning poker, it's important that, again, it's a tool that would help you to, come up with the user story points. So in this context, it could be as simple as here. These could be some of the story point, the planning poker that I've actually used in some projects before. As simple as just write some stuff here on the back of the cards, and you can try and have these shared. Or we use some of these cards that you can actually buy on eBay or Amazon, where you can actually, there are so many other organizations which actually sell these cards. You can buy these online right now in eBay, Amazon. Just say planning poker, and you can get a deck of cards, or you can create your own. So how does this work? Basically, the planning poker is a tool that you can try and use to arrive at the story points in terms of the estimation. So bear that in mind. It's a technique. It's just a tool that you can use. It's not the be all and end all for the story point estimation. So what does this involve? So it is around, the planning poker is around the user stories. Obviously, that's one of the most important aspect of agile development nowadays. It's about giving the development team the power that they can use to try and prioritize, discuss, decide, and move things up or down the requirements. And that's what a user story would really help with, because each user story is like a self-contained unit. It's not really dependent on other. It's not something that you have to do before you do the other one. So it's like again, going back to the discussion that we had a few weeks ago, it's the invest principle. So you need to invest in the user story. Independent, negotiable, valuable, estimatable. See that term E, I-N-V-E-S-T, invest. Independent, negotiable, valuable, estimatable. If you are not in a position to estimate something in a user story, then that's not a user story. You need to further break it down. So estimatable, then you've got sizable, and then finally testable. So if you don't estimate, you can't size it. So it's very, very important for you to understand this. So the best tool that you can use for the requirements when it comes to the planning poker is a user story. And then you also obviously need to understand the user stories are not just standing on their own. You actually put them in the context of a backlog, run them as part of the Scrum team. So that could potentially involve working with the product owners. So the BAs would work with the customers, with the customer representatives, would work with the product owners and the business team to be able to actually come up with some kind of a rough backlog in terms of the stories. And then based on that stories, based on the set of those stories, the development team would create their own backlog. So you can actually create your own subtasks and tasks within the story. And then you can actually add your own technical task, as what we call. And then you can have front end, you've got back end, you've got middleware, the APIs, you have different elements, different aspects that you can try and compare and contrast with, and then think in terms of how you can achieve that functionality that you mentioned here in the user story. How can you achieve this in terms of the backend, in terms of the data, in terms of the middleware, the APIs, the application logic, and the front end, how it should look like, and how it should feel like, the visuals. So all of these, you can create tasks for it. And pretty much Scrum is a good methodology for it to operate if you're a development project. And if it's not a development project, if it's something that is already there, then I would suggest you can use Kanban, because it would again give you a kind of, we're going to discuss those tomorrow in the session, Agile development. That's the bootcamp we're starting tomorrow. We're going to discuss in detail each of those Agile principles and the overview of what is the Agile mindset, the 12 principles, the manifesto, and all that stuff. And then we'll go deeper and deeper into the specifics of Kanban, Lean, and each of those processes and methodologies. But coming back to this, so we can try and use Scrum if it's a development project. If it is a maintenance type of a project, still you can apply Agile, and that's where you can use Kanban, because it's all about the ticketing. You're working on a ticket to change something or to improve something already done. So you raise a ticket, and then you can actually kind of assign the ticket to somebody. They can work on it, close it, and then move on to the next one. So basically that's the ticketing system. So you can clearly see the progress of the ticket in Kanban boards, doing and done. So again, we've discussed this already in some of the context, and you can use other methodologies as well. But I think, again, the context of Agile is very, very important. the agile mindset, be able to appreciate the changes or the way to go. We cannot say that this is change, I cannot work on it. We need to work on things on a day-to-day basis, make sure we're amendable, we can adjust our sails accordingly, our, the ship of the, our ship of the, the actual piece of work. We can, adjust the sail according to the wind, according to the customer and the business feedback. We should be able to actually work on that and improve on it, deliver, and then again work on that. So it's the agile mindset. Again, we'll discuss this in detail tomorrow and day after. And then you can also, it also fits pretty well with DevOps kind of an environment. DevOps is one step ahead of agile. So development obviously is important. So we all need to understand that agile mindset and working in agile teams, delivering things quicker, and then improving on them on a systematic kind of iterative manner, very important. But then DevOps actually is one step forward, where you're trying to eliminate the need for or the dependency on some third parties to actually deliver this. So there is a smooth pipeline all the way from design, development, and delivery. So the developers are not really dependent on waiting for somebody to take an action. They can actually put that code straight into the pipeline so that it gets delivered onto the users immediately, and without having to wait for another 6 months, for example. So that's where the DevOps mindset is. So we're going to have a DevOps bootcamp again in November, I think. Yeah. So we're going to discuss the details of DevOps then. And then we are going to have the teamwork as an important characteristic in the planning, poker, and estimation, because unless you have a team, you can't estimate. If you're just one person and the project manager, they can't just come up with an estimation. It needs team. It's like they say that you need 2 hands to clap. In the same way, you need to have a team to deliver, to work on something, to deliver collaboratively in the agile context. So again, teamwork is very important, and to be able to work collaboratively with the team, to be able to actually appreciate the nuances and the sharing and caring aspects of teamwork, very, very important. And then the important thing is the product thinking. Again, you should not think projects. Again, that's important thing about product thinking, design thinking, and system thinking. Very, very important to have in this time and age. The thinking, if you go to the interview and people ask about what kind of attitude, what kind of thinking you would need to have to deliver something successful in this day and age, it's the product thinking. First of all, you cannot think projects. Of course, I'm not talking about project managers. They've got to think projects, and then they've got to think milestones, resources, and things like that. But we are not project managers here. Not everybody is going to be a project manager. Not everybody in a cricket team is going to be a captain, right? So in a cricket team or in a football team, there'll be captains, but then the captain also has got to play. The captain also has got to bat, bowl, and then actually be on the field. The same way, we have got a product thinking. Even though project manager is there in the project, we all need to actually think in terms of the product. So that's where you think in terms of releases. What is a major release? What is a minor release? What goes into the major release? What are the features that we're going to deliver? Who are the customers? Who are the users? How are they going to feedback to us? How can we improve this, iteratively over a period of time? This is product thinking. It's not about project. It's not about how much time you take. There are people who can think about it, who can worry about it, who can work on that. It's not us, the team. We, the team members, including analysts, designers, developers, architects, testers, subject matter experts, user experience designers, visual designers, all of us, all of these is the team. We have got to think product, think system, think design thinking. So that would actually kind of help us deliver things quicker, better, and also more efficiently in this world. And delivery, again, this is what we're talking about, time to market. It's not about working on something. You've got an idea and you actually spend about 5 months writing it down, a business plan, getting something out of it. You actually write the requirements document, spending another 6 months. And after about a year, 2 years, you actually get the architecture approved and everything done. So 2 years is what it would take for you to actually, from idea to implementation. Do you think the market would still be the same? Do you think the customers would still be the same? Do you think the technologies would still be the same? The platform is still the same? The lifestyles are still the same? No. Everything would change. In 2 years is like huge time for you to actually say that I have got this idea, I have got this product, right? So instead of that, think how you can speed up the whole process of taking your idea to the market quicker. You can actually have a prototype. You can use some of the tools. You can create a prototype. You can actually have this kind of user testing. We were trying to have paper prototype. You can do it, a user testing, get the feedback, work on that, have a rough design, show the design, work on that, then deliver one module, not everything. As we discussed yesterday, you don't have to deliver all the e-commerce website functionality in 2 months or in 6 months. You can actually have one functionality done, and then you say, hey, by the way, I've got the catalog. You can actually select, you can have a look at all the items that I'm selling. So, and then when you say, you can actually click, you know what, you can actually select the items. You can actually kind of create your own shopping cart. And then once that is done, you cannot obviously pay it, but you know what, you can actually kind of send that in an email to me. I'll look after your, your items that you bought. Still that works. There might be kind of offline work involved, but still the customer can do something there. So that's the shippable, that's the kind of potentially shippable product you're delivering quicker. And then you can add on the top of it, you can add, for example, a credit card. You can add, just say, I'm only taking credit cards right now. Then you can add bank transfers, then you can add check processing. All of these can actually, one by one, you can actually add on the one on the top of the other incrementally, about a week's time or a month's time. Not everything would be urgent. You need to prioritize. You need to actually kind of think what is important and what is urgent from the point of view of not you or me, but from the point of view of the customer, the user perspective. The user focused customer centricity again comes into picture.